Everyone, and we are on a subject today that is really not um, something that you really are hearing too much about, but I just wanted to touch upon it because it just happened to me. So, I purchased a PlayStation 5, as many of you have, but I was actually a little bit later to the game, and I purchased a PS5, I would say around 3 weeks ago. And you could see it right there over my shoulder. It's connected, and I haven't bought any physical media for it. Almost all of the games that I've been playing have been exclusively digital, and a lot of my older games I re-downloaded that you are able to play on the system. And I've downloaded Warzone and Fallen Order, things that are older games, but I'm just kind of catching up to things that I haven't played on PS5. I've enjoyed the system. It's really cool. Liked it a lot. Fidelity's nice. It works really good with an Epson projector that I've got over there, and it gives me a nice picture quality um, over my shoulder on the other side. Right now, I'm downloading The Amazing Spider-Man, and again, these are launch games, right? But I hadn't played them because I didn't have a PlayStation 5. So this brings me to my next subject. So as I've had the system and I've watched media on it, I've watched movies and through different apps like Hulu and Peacock and YouTube videos and you name it. I haven't had a single issue with my PlayStation. It seems to be working fantastic. Well, uh, I have a cousin of mine who happened to have a sealed copy of the Miles Morales game, which I hadn't played yet, believe it or not. I'd seen tons of amazing, you know, um, footage on the game and reviews and all that good stuff. And really, it was one of those things where you you just look at it and you go, "Wow, this looks like a really fun game." And everything that I've heard about it has been top notch, right? And of course, Amazing Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 was a fantastic game. So this is like the next step for it. So I get the game, and it's sealed copy, which is really nice of my cousin to go ahead and just kind of give it to me because he never used his copy. So it's the launch edition. I go and I try to put the game into the optical disc drive, and PlayStation doesn't want to take it. It just doesn't. So I try again, and you obviously don't want to force any kind of a disc into an optical drive, right? Because you may damage your game, and also you may damage the disc drive itself. But I figured something's going on here, so I went ahead and I reset the console, uh, restarted it, and then I tried to insert the disc again. Um, it wasn't really trying to take the disc, so I said, okay, maybe there's something in the disc drive. So I pushed the eject button. Nothing happens. I mean, the system beeps at me, and as if hey, there's nothing in the actual system. And then after I push the eject button, then the system takes the disc. No problem. I hear a couple of clicks, and it sounds like maybe the system is taking the disc, but there's no reading being done. There's no disk icon populating on the screen. There's nothing. And this is a brand new system. Like, it was straight out of the box. Like I said, it just the only thing it's ever done is turn on, connect to the internet, and stream some games and download some other ones. So it's done. No major hard hardship or hard labor, you should say, right? So anyway, so I'm just flabbergasted because I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I've got this PlayStation 5 with it's my first physical game, and I wasn't planning on getting too many physical games, but hell, I got the disc drive version because sometimes I do want to have some physical media. Some games I do want to have a physical copy of, and so I go online and I troubleshoot. I do everything you can, right? So it says, hey, step one is restart the PlayStation 5. So you do that, and then it says, okay, let's restart it in safe mode. And then you hold the power button for a few seconds after you turn the system off, and it gives you a second beep when it turns back on. And then you have the safe mode menu. You select restart PS5, and it's supposed to reboot the disk drive into reading games. That didn't work. So then, of course, I had already been playing through some games, and had saved data on the system, so I didn't want to really lose all that much as far as having to do an entire how you say an entire system reboot. But I figured everything online is telling me these are the next steps. If this doesn't work, wipe your disks, check to make sure that everything is clean, make sure that you're inserting the disk with the label facing the right way, which would be left if the system is vertical, and of course facing up if the system is laying flat. So I do all the troubleshooting that you're supposed to do, and and so the only thing that you have left at that point is to how do you call it? Restart all the PlayStation 5 from its factory default settings. So basically erasing everything and starting from scratch. So I did that as well. And nothing. It's definitely a physical problem. It's not reading the discs. And you go online and then you start seeing that this is actually a problem that some owners are experiencing. And it's a little bit more common than you are reading about. Especially with it looks like people who have had the system since launch are having issues with the optical disk drive. I read where one user contacted Sony. Of course, it was past their manufacturer's warranty because he's had it for over a year, and Sony wanted $200 to fix the optical disk drive. This isn't an easy fix either. It's not like you could just go ahead and purchase a new disk drive off of eBay and just swap it out. The disk drives on the PS5 have a logic board attached to them that kind of marries the optical drive to your PlayStation 5. So you can repair it if you have the know-how, but it's not as simple as just pulling out the entire drive with the logic board and then buying another one and swapping it. You just can't do that because your PlayStation 5 will read it and go, that logic board doesn't belong to me. So you literally have to use the same guts from the optical drive in order to get a new one to work with it. So it's a little bit beyond the scope of my knowledge as far as repairs. I have done repairs on my own systems previously. Power supplies, things like that, things of that nature, especially during the PlayStation and Xbox 360 era with the yellow light of death and the red rings of death. But ever since I was a kid with my NES and SNES and Genesis, like I used to unplug those things and take them into my bedroom, and you take a screwdriver to them and just pop them open and see how the guts worked. And that was always something that I used to do, and swap out controllers with different shells and things like that. So it's not like it's something that I'm foreign to. As far as if I have to do a repair myself, I can definitely look up how to do it and do it. But in this case, with the logic board being married to your PlayStation 5, I really don't want to. You have to, it's a little bit more of a delicate process, and I don't want to go through that on my own. I will say this: a system that's only been out for a few years, a couple years at best, shouldn't be having these kind of widespread issues. And again, it's something that's not really talked about too much. I'm guessing maybe it's not as widespread as I seem, but once you look it up, it's out there, and it seems to be bigger than what you would think. The optical issues with it are definitely cropping up. I have a good friend of mine who also his PlayStation 5 was just continuously overheating. And, as we know, a few, maybe about a month ago or so, people started talking about their PlayStation 5's overheating and how it had an issue with the liquid metal coolant that they use for the heatsink. So that's something as well that you should keep in mind if you are purchasing a PlayStation 5 optical drive version, especially because now you may have that heating issue, and you may have an optical drive issue. It could be the rollers on the PlayStation 5 from what I was reading. The optical drive seems to be made of a lot of plastic, and these things don't hold up that well. Um, it certainly doesn't look like the kind of quality that you got out of the PlayStation 4's optical drives, and even the pins that hold into the logic board look a lot like the PlayStation 3 pins, but that's neither here nor there, right? Um, yeah, so then I go into a group chat with some friends and family, and of course, I say, hey, my PlayStation 5's acting up. And so it's really hard to tell when you have when you have friends that are have a dark sense of humor or are sarcastic like you are, whether or not they're trolling you or if they're really trying to help. So the first thing they do is I've already told them the troubleshooting that I've done, which is hilarious, right? Because you go ahead and you tell them everything you've done, and then the system's still not working. You're just kind of venting at that point. And then, of course, you start getting screenshots of the same process that you just said worked. And then they started telling me, no, man, you're putting the disc in upside down or the wrong way. And, of course, I go, listen, I'm not dumb. I know how to put the disc in. The label side goes left if it's vertical, and it goes up if it's laying flat. There's only one way to put it in. I'm not putting it in upside down. But that debate kept going back and forth to the point where one of them asks me to, hey, make a video of you putting the disc in. I want to see if the label is the right way. He straight up did not believe that I knew how to put a video game into the PlayStation 5. Like, I know I'm old, but I'm not. It's not that serious. I can handle putting a disc in. I tried movies. I tried all the other media, DVDs and Blu-rays, and none of that worked. It was really funny. So yeah. So then I still got screenshots of all the troubleshooting and got told to do it all over again. And after a while, I'm thinking to myself, man, am I that dumb where these dudes are just like, oh man, you got to do it again because everything you told us, it was like none of it happened. But yeah, so to be fair though, they did have some nice alternatives for me because both of them know resellers, and one of them actually does some reselling of the system itself, and so it was like one of those things where they could always get me another console if I needed it, or swap out the drives if I needed to. So I have access to alternatives, which is really nice. And then my friend did reach out to his friend who told me that he could get me another PlayStation, and that he would just swap it out for me, which is really nice of him. So I'd end up with a fresh console, hopefully with a working drive, right? But yeah, it was that was my little thing for today. Is like your PlayStation 5 might be acting up. Thank God I didn't put a copy of like Sonic Frontiers into that game because who knows? It probably would have fried it even further, people. Oh man, but it's really when you're buying a PlayStation, you're trying to get value out of this thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's supposed to be probably like a low end PC with decent specs, and you're supposed to be able to just pop in a game and play it. There's not much demand that I'm asking from my system. I'm not trying to put anything crazy into it. I'm not trying to modify it, and you just expect certain things to work. Yeah, it's a little disappointing, but also, because I was using the system primarily as a digital console, I just like to have the option of the disk drive. It's not a deal breaker for me as of yet. As I said, I factory reset and I've got all the games downloading in the back there. It's a little dim now because the projector hasn't been in motion, so it's trying to do a screen save type thing there. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so this week we had a bit of, and that's the first part. So the second part of this here broadcast is going to be talking and recapping what happened during the week. We talked a little bit of the Wii U eShop ending. We also talked about Microsoft, Phil Spencer, confirming the digital store for mobile platforms, an Xbox digital store on mobile platforms on iPhone and Android, which is going to be a big thing. I had audio issues with that. I decided still to publish it. Hopefully, hopefully this stream here is going better. I may need to purchase a new computer with the new setup, and that way we have less frame drops and less audio issues. Hopefully that works. If not, then we will scale back the resolution on some of these videos and kind of get that going until, let's say, we can get the equipment needed to go forward. And then the last thing that we talked about was a video game leak from a Nintendo Prime called Donkey Kong Freedom that was supposed to come out for Nintendo Switch 2. I wanted to touch upon that one more time. If you saw the last video, the thumbnail at the on the video itself was actually from a video game trailer called Donkey Kong Freedom that was made in Dreams years ago. And so what's really interesting about that trailer is if you look it up, if you just type in Donkey Kong Freedom, it should pop right up on YouTube. It's about 1.5 minutes long, a little bit more than that. And it's exactly how Nintendo Prime kind of described the video that he had seen. So not really sure if that's what he thought was the game or what was presented to him to be the game, but it is clearly not the game. That trailer that I saw was something that was running in Dreams. It's a user content created game, and it wasn't even a full game. It was, like I said, just something kind of a mock. Looked like something that could be, pre-alpha, who knows. It just looked like something that was fan-made, and it was cool for what it was. Clearly not a Nintendo Switch title, not even a Nintendo Switch 2 title. So that particular leak, supposedly being made from the Super Mario Odyssey team, it's just looking less and less likely for that. And of course, we talked a little bit about F-Zero GX coming to Nintendo Switch as a port, an HD remaster. That would be very cool. Probably the best news that was out in the week for Nintendo Switch. In that case, would have been an F-Zero remaster. That would be very cool to see and hyped up if that is the case. But yeah, so that's enough for my rant today. Let me know if you guys have any ideas, or if you've gone through the same thing with your PlayStations or Xboxes. Are you having disk drive issues? Did you find a solution? Did you pop open the side and try to using the little screw to eject the disc manually and see if that worked? Let me know in the comments below, and thumbs up on the video if you like it, thumbs down if you hate it. Either way, interaction is good, and if you feel like subscribing to the channel, that would be much appreciated. Feel free. I'm trying to live stream every day on twitch.tv /starflagmedia, and usually it is a live version of what you're seeing here on YouTube. So if you want to catch me over there, join the conversation. We can definitely go there and talk a little bit. So hit the like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.